I know we all want to get out to our campsite as fast as we can, but don't forget our #1 priority should be safely towing our trailers. So that's what we're going to tackle today. So we are just pulling into the Bighorns here, and I thought this would be a perfect place to share with you the 8 tips we use for safely towing our trailer. So the first tip I want to share with you is probably the most important, and that is to not put too much weight in the rear of your trailer, because this can introduce sway, which is the most dangerous thing you can have towing out here. And although this guidance couldn't be more clear, sometimes with teardrop trailers, it's as clear as mud. So as you can see on a teardrop trailer, the axle is a bit moved to the back, and they do this so more weight can be in the back. If you think about it, this teardrop has the grill back here, the fridge, all the water is stored back here. So it kind of changes the guidance a little bit. And this is especially true with my little 4x8 trailer. And I get a lot of comments telling me that I'm completely off about moving weight back. And I'm just gonna explain that really quick just in case some of you have the scenario like me. So our 4x8 trailer, it's built traditionally with sticks, and the axle is placed back in the rear of the trailer just as if we had a fridge, we had a stove, and we had a water tank. But we have none of those. It's a very pared down, bare bones trailer. And so if you think about it, that means all in front of the axles is the majority of the square footage of the trailer. So all that wood and all the steel from the frame, it's all pushing down on the rear of the vehicle because of where those axles are at. So of course we've had to move some weight back, which goes against traditional, wisdom of how you do this. But it's not all about guessing and checking. You can do this very scientifically. I'm gonna put a video in the description from Brian. He's over at DIY Outdoor Life, and he'll walk you through how to properly weigh that tongue so you can have a safer towing experience out here. I said don't put too much weight in the back. You also don't wanna put too much weight in the front as well. And that's because your vehicle can only support so much tongue weight. If you have too much weight, especially on a smaller car like a sedan or a wagon like the Subaru Wilderness, it's going to impact that rear suspension, it's going to be too much weight for that hitch receiver, and it could impact your stopping distance. So it really is about finding the balance. And I'm feeling a bit like a hypocrite here because I had Bean Trailer throw on a tongue box for me. This is obviously not what you want to do if you want to keep that weight down in the front. So if I'm running heavy here and I'm running heavy in the back, what's the obvious solution? So if I'm still within the towing capacity of my vehicle, what I would want to do is move some weight backwards, more towards the axle. I don't want it to go behind the axle, I want it to be over it or slightly in front of it. Trailers with tie downs, this is a great way to put heavier items. Sometimes we put bikes in there, we put our big Zamp solar panel. But if you have exceeded your towing capacity, this means you just need to get a larger towing vehicle to properly tow this safely. What's going on here, Kevin?
Well, climbing an altitude, puncture a hole in it.
So what's this towing capacity all about? For most of us, obviously, we're thinking there's a certain weight that once the trailer exceeds that, it's going to have wear and tear on the transmission, on the engine, other components. But in reality, I think it's more about stopping distance. So the heavier that trailer is in comparison to the weight of your car, it's going to take longer for your car to come to a stop. You have this heavy trailer pushing behind you. So that's why we need to be really careful about our towing capacity and not exceeding it. Looks like it's been here a while. Those people have a good view. And then we'll keep going as we come around here. The next tip is just picking up a set of portable radios. These can cost about $20. This is going to allow the driver to communicate with the person. I mean, look at these trees here. Kevin had to help me work into this spot, and there's no cell signal here, but there'll always be a signal with that two-way radio.
Power on. 10.
It works. Maybe.
Please change battery.
No! Nothing a good bit of yelling and, you know, some hand signals can work out. So you're gonna have to find a way to get comfortable using your side mirrors. So I think the best place to learn how to turn into a campsite, besides coming out to an actual campsite, is just practicing it in a parking lot, turning into a parking space. But I think the hardest part of backing up isn't the turning, it's actually going backwards for a long ways. So following out a road, let's say if you hit a dead end. So I think the best way to do this is find the longest parking lot possible and weave your way back, looking into your side mirrors and judging how much tire is out on each side. And this is going to help you stay straight. And then the other thing is just remember, even though your trailer is doing something in the back, your car is doing something in the front, so you need to watch out for your car hitting items as well. So I mentioned earlier that towing capacity is often related to stopping distance. So one of the best tips I can give you is make sure you allow more space ahead of your car than usual, because that trailer behind you is going to greatly increase your stopping distance. Pretty decent sight, I would say. Good choice, Kevin Moon. So obviously one of the best tips I can give you is to get to know your trailer. And in this case, get to know your wheels. Look in the owner's manual and see if you have smaller wheels that have a speed limit on them. So for instance, many of the pop-up trailers out there and some of the older trailers, they don't allow you to go over a certain speed limit, sometimes 55, sometimes 60. You don't want to be going on the interstate over the capacity of your wheels and tires. And while I'm at the wheels, let's talk bearings. I suggest you guys pack your bearings at least once a season. We pack ours at the end of the season, that way it's ready to go in the spring. By having a packed bearing, it's not going to overheat and seize on you, so you get stuck out here on the side of the road.
Let's see what the altitude did to these chips too.
All right, let's head back down. We're gonna talk about risers and extensions and how those can impact your towing as well. So the next tip is around adding extensions to your hitch receiver or increasing the height of your ball hitch. And what that does, if you increase the length or the distance from the ball hitch to your car, you're going to get some play. And I don't know if you guys have seen the video from TFL. We kind of set Tommy up for failure. We dropped off the Subaru Wilderness paired with this bean, and he took it out and tested it. I'll put that video in the description below. And he was saying the trailer was feeling sway. Now, like I mentioned, sway is a dangerous thing, but you know, I've used this term incorrectly like Tommy. I don't think he did it on purpose. I think what he was feeling was movement in the hitch, vertical and horizontal. And what happens, I had to add this hitch extension because I needed it further away from my Jeep so I could open up the door. Now, when I changed out the Jeep for the Subaru, I should have went back to a tighter fit, because the closer the ball is to your car, the less movement and play you have. And so when you're hitting bumps, you're gonna have less movement of the trailer. And then when you raise up your hitch, so let's say you take a Subaru like this and you're trying to get it to pull an off-road trailer, like the Colorado Teardrop I pulled. If you raise it up, you're also getting some extra movement and a really weird angle. So this, I've noticed the tongue starts coming up at an angle because it has to meet that rise, and it's causing some movement. And when I'm going down into like pulling into a gas station or out of my driveway, it'll cause me to bottom out on the ground. So if you can, get that ball as level as you can with the trailer, finding a trailer that naturally is even to the vehicle, meaning you don't have to lift up that ball to meet this trailer. They're kind of a good match from the factory, and then getting the ball as close back to the car as possible. But the good thing is there's always workarounds to many of these things. So when TFL brought back the trailer and car, the truck driver they have, you see a lot on the channel, I think his name's maybe Andre, I don't know, I don't watch the channel enough, but he said that we need to use a Gen Y hitch. And for those of you who are familiar with a lock and roll articulating hitch, that allows the trailer to move on axis separately from the car. So when it moves horizontally or vertically, the car doesn't feel it. This is the same concept, but it allows you to do it with like 2-inch ball receivers. So if you guys like this video, I have a video here about the locks we use to keep our trailer secure out here, and another video here about everything we do just to stay safe out here in general. Guys, stay safe on the road, and we'll see you in the next episode.